Welcome to Buxton!
Hi, I'm Mari, and I'm an incoming senior. And yeah.
And I'm Karleigh, and I'm also an incoming senior. You may notice we're not wearing masks. It's because we've been quarantining together.
Yeah, we live in town together.
This is the main house. This is a dorm and also where the kitchen and dining hall is, and just generally the hub of campus.
Yeah. A lot of students like to hang out here, especially in the afternoons. There's a really nice room we call the billiards room with a fireplace, a lot of games, and yeah.
And the student lounges.
Yes. Dining hall. This is where we eat all of our meals together, both students and faculty. We've been having family-style meals with student waiters that rotate each week.
As you can see, we have a lot of student art here. This is from either fall or spring arts, all of the art changes 2 times a year, and students just submit the art that they want to be put up.
This is the billiards room. This is both a faculty and student lounge. And in winters we have a fire in the fireplace, and it's just a really cozy space to do some reading, catch up on homework.
And this is also where a lot of meeting happens, so faculty meetings every day, and dorm supervisor meetings, and various clubs meet in here. This is the student lounges. It's a nice place to just hang out. People often play music in here. And as you can see, like the dining hall, also there's a lot of student art.
So this is Tucket, the room. It houses 4 students, and generally in rooming we can have anywhere from 4 people or 5 people sleeping together in a room, or a double. This one has its own bathroom as well, but there are also public bathrooms accessible to all the other students in the hallway.
And we also have room change 4 times a year, where you get to pick people that you want to live with, preferably people you haven't lived with before, and then you get to change rooms, so you get to experience living with different people. So at 10 p.m., the dorm supervisors, which are elected students to sort of run the dorms, they have their crews, and then everyone works together and does just like a quick clean of the dorm for like 15 minutes. So people will take out the trash from rooms, they'll sweep the hallways, they'll vacuum, and just tidy up.
Yeah, so a lot like the chores that you would do in your own house. All the students work together to keep the space clean.
This is the barn. It is a dormitory along with faculty that live in it. All of the dorms have faculty dorm parents, which are people that you can go to in the middle of the night if you need anything, along with dorm supervisors who are students that are there to help you.
And similar to the main house, there are rooms with just 2 beds, doubles, and it can go up to 4 rooms in the barn here. And yeah. we have dorm supervisors, both faculty and student, that work together. So we're inside one of the rooms, loft in the barn. It houses 4 students, and each room has a desk and storage areas. So there are rooms both on the 1st and 2nd floors, and then the 3rd floor is occupied by faculty. And there's a barn lounge for a common space. It's a really nice space, especially at night. Students come in and out of each other's rooms up until lights out. Bed check is at 10, where students are required to be in their own dorms, and then the dorm starts to quiet down around 10:30 and 11.
During bed check, a faculty member will come around and make sure that the students are in the dorm. You don't necessarily have to be in your room. You can still be doing work with another student, but you make sure that you're in the dorm for the night, and they'll ask you if you need anything. Our class day starts at 8:30 on weekdays. Before that, you can go up to the main house and get breakfast, but then at 8:30 classes start. There's 7 class blocks per day, each 45 minutes, with lunch and a snack break in between. The average student takes 4 to 5 academic classes and then an art or 2. You can take more or less depending on what your needs are, because the selection for classes is really free form and based off what you want to learn and what your needs are, but then there's also core requirements that you need for college and such.
So this is the English room, but it can also function as a room for other classes. But generally the English program here in Buxton is separated by grade, and it's very much discussion based. And because it's separated by grade, and all the other classes here are generally mixed, so you'll be in classes with other juniors or seniors or even freshmen. This is a good time to kind of get to know your grade. It serves as a homeroom, and also a space to be able to plan events for the school.
And it's a discussion-based class. We read poetry, short stories, books. Some of my favorites that we read this year were Angels in America. Last year we read Between the World and Me. Freshman year we even dissected some children's books like The Little Prince, so there's a huge range of books that we'll read.
So we're in the bio lab right now in the greenhouse space, which is taken care of by students. But we have the bio lab, and then the chem lab and the physics lab are all part of this building. And the science program here, there's a wide range of science electives and lab sciences. Bio labs, we'll sometimes go out. We have a variety of ponds around campus also, so we'll go out and take water samples. In the spring we'll be looking at frogs and frog eggs in biology. For marine science, we'll also be meeting here, and that's more of a science journaling type setup, so we'll be looking at articles and sharing it. It's very presentation based.
The labs are a really good time to get hands-on. In physics last year we built rockets when we were studying aerodynamics, and a variety of other labs. In chemistry we've made different things out of chemical reactions, and The biolab has pets. Either students can keep pets in here, or there's a carnivorous fish that you can feed, and a turtle and some other fish. It's one of the student services to feed them every day, and they're just fun to hang around.
Classes here is a half-year course, Greek Tragedies, and it's a small discussion-based class with a big final project at the end, and we've been looking at different plays like the Bacchae, Agamemnon, Antigone, and looking at various themes of worship of women, pollution within a human being or within a town, and the idea of gods and their relationship to human beings within these myths, and looking at these plays and what we can glean from them since they were written so long ago, and looking at them through current lens here.
One of my favorite classes that I've taken here was astronomy. It's a half-year course that happens every other year. It was just a really amazing course. At night we'd go out and we'd look at the stars and we'd learn about all different aspects, including like myths behind stars and constellations, or like the physics aspects of black holes and supernovas, and you just like got to explore the universe. Another aspect that I love about Buxton is the really tight-knit community. It really feels like we're a family and this is our home. And I mean, obviously you're not gonna like everyone in your family that much, but like we all have like a family, we all have like such a deep love for each other, and we all really do care about each other. And because we spend every day together, you get to know everyone at least a bit. There's no one that you're not gonna know at least a little bit.
Welcome to the Arts Complex. We have the music building, and then the ceramics building, and then the studio art and photo building behind us. And yeah, this is where all of our student art is made. And it's also just a really nice place to hang out. A lot of people like to sit on the hill. And yeah.
This is one of the practice rooms in the music building. Here is where Music 1 and 2 take place. They're art classes that focus a lot on music composition, and then also playing an instrument. If you happen to play one, you don't need to play one to take the class. And then also this is where people rehearse for playing music for spring arts and fall arts weekends, because we have like a showcase where people can either do like duets with their friends or solos or general music pieces, and here's a good place to come and practice.
So the arts weekends at Buxton, we have one in the fall and one in the spring, and they're the weekends where we showcase all of the student art and theater and dance. In the spring especially, we have an African drum and dance program, and we have families come, and it's a weekend of really good food and music. We have ensembles performances and chorus performances, and all the student art that we saw hanging in the dining hall and the student lounge is changed that weekend. So new art is put up and then put up again in the spring. We have ceramics classes, but it's also a building that people can just come in and work whenever they want. We have a lot of wheels to throw on, and also a vast amount of hand building tools. And it's a very unique space. It's a beautiful place to just hang out and work on your projects. We have a slab roller here too, and an extruder. And yes, during classes, it's pretty free form, so our ceramics instructor, Amrita, will typically ask you what you want to do with your time, and then she'll help you whether you want to throw or hand build. And so yeah, that's the space. This is the shelves where student art is stored and dried for the kiln. So this is the Buxton Glaze room. And here at the studio, students are responsible for making all of our glazes. And so we have students creating glazes and creating new glazes, bringing new recipes, and there are definitely students that just focus on glaze making. So it's a big project here. And we also have a glaze recipe book that alumni often put recipes in for new glazes or glazes that they used like years and years ago when they were students here.
We're one of the only high schools in the country that allows students to make their own glazes. So that's a really awesome opportunity.
Yeah, and it's a good amount of responsibility. We learn how to make glazes safely using masks and ventilators, and with careful measurements. And we have all of the clays and the pigments here to make them. So this is our kiln room. We have 2 electric kilns here. And actually, as one of the student services, we have a kiln heads program. So students are responsible for turning the kiln up since it's a 24-hour firing process for each load. And so students coordinate and sign up for times that they can turn up the kiln. It's a big responsibility, but it's also a really cool way to understand exactly how the firing process works.
a studio art space. It's open all the time, and for classes like the ceramics, it's a very free-form class. You can do whatever you want, from printmaking to oil paint to acrylic paint to literally anything. And so we even get free oil paint here, which is an amazing opportunity. And seniors or upperclassmen get little studio art spaces, but even if you don't have one, you can still work in the common areas.
And yeah, it's a really amazing opportunity to experiment in mediums. I know when I first came here, I had only ever used watercolor and a little bit of acrylic, and I just dived right into oil, and I really loved it. And yeah, it's a really good system to learn how to responsibly use these paints and clean up after yourself. Although the space is always a little wild, it's a creative space.
Printing press made for ink prints. This is one of 13 in the world, and we're lucky enough to get to use it.
So this is the dark room for developing prints for film photo and developing film. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 enlargers. So a lot of students can work in this place at once. This sink here is for printing. And the architecture of this room is actually very interesting. The teacher who runs the photo program, Ben, actually designed it himself, so it's specially made for the students here at Buxton. And it's a really unique opportunity. We have students cleaning the space, and it does have to stay very clean because we're using a lot of chemicals. So one of the cleanest places on campus, I would argue. And yeah, students develop their own film, print their own film, and learn how to mix the chemicals, and yeah, it's a really nice space.
And like all the other spaces, this room is open all the time, so you can come in here and just listen to music and develop your photos anytime when you have a free period or any afternoon. And then we do also have a digital photo program that Ben also runs. This is the video production lab. This is where the video production class happens. Unlike the other arts classes, this one tends to be more structured. A bit. Students have like certain projects that they work on, either like making infomercials or making mockumentaries. And it's a really fun class where people get to express themselves through making videos of their friends.
Yeah, and all students are also taught how to use Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom, also for the photo program and for video production. So that's installed on all these computers. So a typical weekend at Buxton would start on Friday night, hosted by Rec Committee, which is a group of 4 students who are in charge of creating these all-school activities. So it can be anywhere from a board game night to an all-school scavenger hunt outside, all-school tag games, or a movie night. And Rec Committee is really good at bringing the whole school together. There are always snacks, and it's a really nice time to talk to people that you might not have talked to as much.
And then Saturday morning we have work program, which we'll talk about later, from 10 to 12. And then after that we eat lunch, which is actually prepared by a crew of students, because all of our meals on Saturday are prepared by student crews. And then after that, it's just free time. You can do whatever you want. A lot of times clubs will happen then, and it's just a good time to just like hang out. And then dinner again is prepared by students. And then a lot of times there'll be Saturday night activities. Like every once in a while there's just like a casual like karaoke night or board games, kind of like Friday night but much more casual. Yeah.
And Sundays start off much more relaxed than a busy Saturday morning. Students are allowed to sleep in a bit. Big brunch is served around 11 o'clock, and that's always a big event, and students can eat together. If the weather's nice, we can eat outside. And then Sunday afternoon is pretty free-form. A lot of students like to get their homework done on Sunday afternoon. And then Sunday evenings, we have what we call senior services with a formal Sunday night dinner. So everyone will dress up and eat together in the dining hall by candlelight. And then at the end, there'll be a senior service where one of each senior in the class will talk about we'll talk about advice that they can give to the underclassmen and their experience at Buxton, and it's a really nice, close time for everybody.
So we are standing in the wood yard. This is one of the places where work program happens. Work program is a thing 2 times a week, Tuesday afternoons and Saturday mornings, where the entire school splits up into crews and essentially does maintenance on the campus to keep it going, because we don't have janitors, and we have a small maintenance crew that does the stuff that we can't do. But for the most part, we take care of the campus, so we chop the wood to heat the buildings, which we have stacked here for shifting. Over there we have a greenhouse which is part of the agriculture program. We also have 2 other gardens, and then also all of the buildings, the dorms, the classroom buildings, the arts buildings, even the bathrooms are cleaned by us during this time.
And work program happens 2 times a week, like you said, Tuesdays and Saturdays, it's just a really important part of our community. Even past cleaning, the students do work really hard to clean, but even more than that, it's very much a community building exercise, and teaches us to really respect our spaces, and to be able to take leadership roles in a wide variety of things, from splitting wood to cleaning the kitchen to baking to raking and all of that. So yeah.
Because all of the work program crews are student-led. A really important part of the curriculum at Buxton is the urban intensive trip that happens once a year in late February or early March. So the school splits up into different study groups depending on the city that we're going to. They try to find relevant topics like women's rights or gentrification or like violence and crime. And then what the groups will do is that they'll call and email people in the city that they'd want to have interviews with, try to get different views of the issue in the city, and then when we go, they go to those interviews and sort of take notes. It's kind of like being a journalist, and so you get to meet with a bunch of people and really be like involved in the city. And then we come back, and then during what's called post-trip week, we then put together presentations about what we learned and then share it with the school.
And it's just a really amazing experience. I remember my first trip wondering how we were going to Montreal and how we were going to get meetings with these random businesses in Montreal, and just having to go headfirst into it. And I was in an immigration group looking at immigration, U.S.-Canada relations also, and so just making those calls and learning how to write emails and stuff like that. It was really important, and I learned a lot on those trips.
Right now we're outside of the theater. This is where African drum and dance takes place, and then also our theater productions and our drama classes. We have 3 theater productions, one that we perform at Fall Arts, one that we actually bring with us on our urban intensive trip, and we perform it at like schools or retirement homes, and then we also have a spring play. And the African drum and dance program is really amazing. We have all different levels, from people who have never danced before to people who have been dancing their whole lives. And then also the drum program is open to everyone, and it builds like a really great community to just be able to like get into the rhythm and dance together.
Program here in the fall, we have a soccer season, and then alternative sports, which can range from ultimate frisbee to basketball games up here, to croquet sometimes, and so that one's more student driven, but yes, and we'll be playing in the soccer, we'll be playing against other private schools in the area, and in the winter we have a basketball team that also plays against other private schools, and yeah, in the spring we have ultimate frisbee, and we have a small tennis program, and yeah, so